Every single day we are given 24 hours, approximately 1/3 of which is made up of sleep, and another large chunk oftentimes consists of work or other life responsibilities so that we can survive. Sometimes that work can be enjoyable, and other times it's something we have to do just to get by. That means when we do have free time, it's limited. And whilst sometimes it's nice to disconnect and just do nothing, other times it's important that we use that space to do what brings us joy and fills up the inner well. For creative types, this often means that we need something artistic to do in our spare time. Otherwise, we neglect to nurture the part of ourselves that yearns for that form of expression. And at least in my experience, so often neglecting that part of oneself leads to a lot of frustration and sometimes even grief, whether it's conscious or sitting beneath the surface. Although I only began sewing very recently and spent most of my life being creative in other ways, hand sewing has become one of my favorite forms of artistic expression, and perhaps it's one that you adore too. Perhaps it's one you're curious about, but you just can't find the time to start. Perhaps you've already started, but you just can't find the time to continue. I am by no means a master of time management. I do my fair share of procrastinating and getting distracted just like everyone else. But there are a few tricks I've learned that have helped make more time for hand sewing in my life. All of this is applicable to hand sewing, of course, but it could also perhaps apply to any portable craft completed with one's hands. Since our hours each day are limited by a finite, predetermined amount, and we need to fit in sleep, work, and other responsibilities, it's useful to look for pockets throughout the day when you might be able to get a little bit of hand sewing done. One of the best times for this is your daily commute. If you aren't driving, of course. If you happen to take the bus, train, or carpool to work, that's the perfect chance to utilize that time to craft your creative expression. It also means you either start or end your workday with a task that fulfills you deeply and means something to you, which might set up how you'll feel for the rest of the day. Another way to incorporate more sewing into life is to choose an allotted daily amount of time to work on that creative pursuit. The key is that the time needs to be reasonable, and if you skip a day or 2 or 3, you need to remember to be gentle with yourself and don't punish yourself. This is meant to be fun after all. A starting point that seems to work for many people is to commit to creating, sewing, project planning, altering, whatever that may be for 30 minutes to 1 hour each day. You don't have to sit down and do all of this in one go as well. You can break this up into many different pieces throughout the day. Having this goal helps to move a momentous task into smaller chunks, and that in turn makes everything appear less overwhelming. The thing about small chunks of time is they add up. 1 hour daily for a month is already around 30 hours, and for smaller hand-sewn projects like a skirt, that could mean an entire garment completed each month, or 12 garments in a year. Multitasking is also another wonderful technique, but not this type of multitasking. There are so many things we consume in our free time that we can sew along with. Many individuals love to watch their favorite streaming services, read books, or chat with loved ones. The great thing is you can do any of those pastimes whilst sewing. Well, maybe not reading books physically, but audiobooks are an option. By including other activities you enjoy during your sewing time, it might encourage you to pick up the needle and thread. Sewing does not need to be completed in silence. And not sewing in silence leads me to my next point, which is make a party out of it. If it is safe to do so, find a group of friends or loved ones to sew along with. The weather isn't ideal right now for those of us in the northern hemisphere, but as the land begins to warm up, consider gathering in nature to stitch together. Call it a craft party and even make a picnic out of it. You'll be in nature, breathing fresh air, and you'll also be filling yourself up with the joys of creating something. If you're in a position where it isn't safe to do so, numerous individuals throughout the historical fashion community have begun hosting free online sew-alongs, and these are a wonderful way to get a project done and practice your sewing, whilst also bonding with other like-minded individuals. The final point, and this is perhaps the most important one, is to push through resistance. The way feeling passionate about a hobby often looks in media and online is this undying joy whenever you pick up the craft, and in turn that makes you endlessly want to work on it. But passion and commitment doesn't always look like this. The reality is, even that which we love, we will sometimes resist doing. Resistance is a natural part of being a human, and sometimes passion is pushing through that resistance and doing the thing anyways. This doesn't mean working endlessly and burning yourself out. That is probably not a healthy idea. But this does mean hearing that inner voice of, I don't want to be doing this right now, and remembering your commitment to your craft and doing it anyways, whilst also being gentle with yourself. There's a chance that once you push through that initial resistance, you'll probably start feeling that joy again, and even if you don't, it doesn't mean you should stop your creative pursuit altogether. Tomorrow is a new day to start creating again. By changing your relationship to resistance, in turn you'll likely want to make more time for hand sewing, or for any craft and hobby, because the brain will start to recognize that the lulls are also part of the joys, and they don't exist separately. Time often feels like it's moving quickly, and other times it feels like it's moving slowly. Regardless of how time moves, creativity is a constant we have in our lives, and each day there are so many opportunities to express this. I hope 2022 brings you space to be creative and work on the projects you love, even if your brain wants you to resist them ever so often. And I want to say a really quick thank you for supporting me over this past year on YouTube. It's really hard to believe that it's been a year already, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what is in store for the next 12 months. Be kind and be gentle with yourself, friends, and I'll see you all on Thursday for another video.